to me.
Thank you. I was just about to ask. Let's start with our roll call. Commissioner Seworth present.
Commissioner Levitt present.
Commissioner Prescott present.
That's all for the commissioners, right, Madam Chair?
That's all right.
Cleveland Horton, Executive Director, present.
Glendora Hughes, General Counsel, present.
Yolanda Sungay, Deputy Director.
Nicolette Young, Assistant Director.
Candace Crenshaw, Education and Outreach Director, present.
And Spencer Dove, Special Assistant to the Executive Director.
And I would like to introduce Michelle Davis. She's the newest member of our team, for the admin team. So this will be her first commission meeting. I asked her to join so she can kind of get a general idea, but also to meet the commissioners who are on today. So welcome, Michelle. We're excited to have you. You can say a couple of words if you'd like, but I at least wanted to introduce you to the rest of the team here.
Good morning. Thank you. I look forward to working with all.
It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And it looks like we have one more person on. Tammy, are you a member of the public joining us today? That's okay. Sometimes people just like to listen. So we'll move on and I will start with my report. I just wanted to say thank you for everyone's hard work on the gala. While I recognize that it was a long event, it was lovely and I appreciate everybody's hard effort and work on that. So thank you. I also wanted to take a few minutes and bring everybody up to speed on the Maryland Commission on Truth and Lynching. They have finished all of their work. The work is now started on reviewing and determining what recommendations will go in the final report. They include criminal justice recommendations, symbolic reparations, educational media, mental health, and community healing. There are some funding recommendations, but obviously that is pretty up in the air with what may or may not happen based on the current financial situation within the state. From my perspective, some of the recommendations are great. The comments that I've had so far in that are some of the recommendations are to private organizations to be required to do things, which obviously I think that those need to become recommendations to encourage and or because there's very limited on what the commission can offer or require of private entities. And then so it just looks like that. But just to give you guys an idea of like some of the things that they're thinking of is requiring officers to report misconduct, which is already done, but creating some sanctions around that. Ensuring that there are broader reforms to address accountability, transparency, training, discipline. There are more requirements and recommendations related to the Hate Crime Commission. And there is one of the recommendations deals with qualified immunity for police officers, although I think that's still being fleshed out as to whether or not that would exist pre or post any sort of finding of misconduct. Symbolic reparations would include formal state and local apologies, memorialization, in other words, memorials. I'm sorry, I can't speak today. As far as individuals who were the victims of lynching, and then renaming monuments that honor any sort of white supremacy and replacing with memorials for victims. Educational included curriculum revisions that acknowledge and address systemic racism, enhance teacher training and expand resources within schools to address disparities. Media included periodic publication of articles highlighting Black journalists and lynching victims. Mental health was healing from generational trauma through creation of safe spaces and dialogue, community conversations, broad access to culturally competent medical health care. Community would be directing resources to mental health and economic development, supporting trauma and healing programs, especially for youth. Protecting and funding Black cultural and heritage organizations. And then for monitoring, establish a dedicated agency institution to implement and track the recommendations. Now, remember, on the other side of this, there is actually a commission being formed that's specifically to address reparations in the traditional sense that we think of that. So those, while there are some recommendations for that commission, are not part of this commission's purview in that respect. So that's why when we talk about the reparations in here, they're called symbolic. And then also creating a public-facing dashboard of these recommendations that would roll into that next commission and in the recommendations that were direct to see where the state is on achieving those. Does anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts? This final report would be due by the end of the year, so it has not yet been written. It is literally just an Excel sheet with a lot of stuff. So that's why I tried to boil it down for everybody into a summary. And that is my report in whole.
Madam Chair, I would think, so as you presented those items, did you have any thoughts on how, from a intersectional standpoint, how our commission can engage and be of support in reference to those priorities and those recommendations as they continue to move forward?
I think once we have a better understanding, like I said, right now it's a spreadsheet. Under each of those, there's like 20, 25 recommendations. This thing
Mhm.
really needs to be sort of consolidated
Okay.
and, conceptualized, I think, into, while they've categorized it to some extent, there's also a lot of overlap. I think when they're talking about a lot of that community engagement, future boards or task force to look at things, in so much as they do not already exist. For example, when you're looking at the recommendations around hate crimes, there is a hate crime commission. There are reporting requirements, there are laws that I know that the commission has been involved in. So I foresee any additional work or additional recommendations related to that would be inclusive of our agency. But as far as some of the other ones, the criminal justice, there were over 50 recommendations related to that. One of my comments was I absolutely agree with a lot more training and a lot of training around this. That said, as we've learned from the Baltimore consent decree, when you're not thinking about it as a totality, when we actually went through and looked at that for an organization that I worked for and counted up all the hours of training that were required, there were more hours than there were in a year that were required for annual training. Like, and I'm not talking work hours, I'm talking actual hours in the year. So I think that some of this needs to be sort of boiled down, like instead of, 2 hour training on this issue, 2 hour training on this issue, a 2 or 3 hour half day or in-service training on each of the issues. And I think that's another great place where the commission, and Candace, hi, I'm looking at you, could be really participatory and supportive, because the outreach work that's done, the work that's already been done with education, the work that, the commission has already done with police on education and support would be another great place to sort of expand that and make sure that we're being participatory and that we're having, if not, an actual, but a symbolic seat at the table so that it's referenced and related. I also think we bring a different lens because of our purview when it comes to some of these trainings. I think in the recommendations, they're thinking very much about how people interact with those that interact with the criminal justice system. But I also think that we need to be thinking about how the people that are in these systems are treated. So when we think about implicit bias, it's not just with the communities that the police serve, but also how they treat their fellow officers, right? Like, I think that taking that larger lens is really important, and I don't know that that's necessarily been thought of as we drill into once these recommendations are sort of finalized.
Okay.
And again, some of the educational stuff, like one of the recommendations I know is a direct violation of Title IX. So, it's just, it's really just sort of going through and making sure that these things are thoughtful, if you will, of current requirements, because we can't make a recommendation that violates federal law.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Cleveland?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yep. And once we get this down to my understanding is that final comments from the commissioners and the different groups that were working on the actual larger document, because these are all based on the different activities. So, you know, going through and doing like coding and stuff like that to be able to make recommendations based on the evidence. At that point, I think it would be great if we could sit down and have like a more in-depth meeting once we know exactly what that's going to look like. Like I
Okay.
said, right now, there's a lot. Mental health has, 30 some recommendations and all of them are great. It's just, there's a lot.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns? Okay, that's what I wanted to report out to the commissioners and commission. So, and that meeting was quite literally yesterday afternoon that we
Mm.
got this and everything else. So I apologize that I'm sort of reading my cheat sheet, but I myself have only really been able to start digging into it as of yesterday. So apologies there.
No problem. Well, I'll go ahead and hop into my report. Again, good morning, everybody. Um, Before I guess I get into my official report, I did just want to pause for a second and kind of reflect um, with all of you on something that I believe is really bigger than our official agenda as staff of the Maryland Commission of Civil Rights or as commissioners. And this theme has really highlighted for me in recent times when I think about the impact or the environment that Commissioner Noah and his family is dealing with right now. When I think about Commissioner Evelyn and his family and what he's going through right now. I was also reminded when I think about this particular topic. On Sunday, I was watching the news and they were talking about, obviously, because the Powerball was, I think, what, $1.8 billion. And they were interviewing a gentleman who won, I think it was the second largest jackpot, which I think was like $1.5 billion or something like that. And the gentleman was talking about how he was recently diagnosed with cancer, and he only has 4 months to live. And he was talking about how even though he won this enormous jackpot, he doesn't want anything else but to be able to live, right? Because he recognizes that his time here is short, and no amount of money. He talked about how he has all this money and he has now access to the best doctors and the best healthcare, but they can't extend his life, right? So part of really what I wanted to pause and really for all of us to think about is just life and how life is precious. And we all know that life is short. And in our work, and we think about, what we do and how we do it, we are often confronted with injustice, conflict, and the weight of the responsibility to enforce the laws as it pertains to injustice. We all know that we're kind of living through this time of these unprecedented times that are truly testing our endurance, our hope, and at times, if we're being honest, it even can kind of even test our faith. But in the midst of all of this, it is vital for all of us to remember that life is also a gift to be celebrated. Um, I do appreciate the fact that I have an executive leadership team that continues to challenge me um, to focus and appreciate time for myself, right? So that we can't allow the challenges of our work or the challenges of the world to that end to rob us of the joy of living, right? And that each of us must make sure that we're taking time to nurture ourselves and cherish those who are closest to us. So I just want to, just take a moment to encourage everybody on this meeting today before I get into my official report to just celebrate life, right? To find those moments of laughter, find time to rest, and find time to connect, right? Because I'm recognizing more and more for myself personally that it's really in those moments that we kind of renew ourselves, right? And we're reminded why the work that we do matters so deeply. So, I appreciate the fact that all of us are committed to doing the work in our respective roles and responsibilities with the Maryland Commission on Civil Rights. But our commitment to this work is strengthened not only by what we fight against, but also what we live for. So I just want to make sure that each of us on this call, on this meeting, is celebrating life and making sure that we are creating some level of balance. And balance is different for different people, right? Balance is an individualistic concept, but we just want to make sure that everybody on this call is finding some level of balance. So I just want to start off my report with that. But with that, I want to also thank everybody for their participation and support of our gala. Special shout out to our E&O team who worked around the clock to bring our gala to reality once again. A very successful event. We continue to push the envelope at each year, and we'll continue to do that as we continue to move forward. But I just want to give Candace and her team a special shout out and thank you for, again, putting on another fabulous event. And we look forward to continuing to growing our gala more and more each year. I also want to thank our entire leadership team who also made sure that we had what we needed, that we were prepared, and that everything, at least from an appearance standpoint, ran as smoothly as it could. So I appreciate all of you. We do have the opportunity, I know I've talked to Madam Chair about our strategic plan. Because of our partnership with a consulting company, they have agreed to do our strategic plan for free. So we are engaging in that process. We do have our kickoff meeting today at 1 p.m. I do believe, Madam Chair, that I did send you that notice about the meeting today at 1 o'clock. If I didn't, I'll make sure you get it. I thought I sent it over to you, but if not, I'll make sure we send it over to you to include you on that if you're able to attend at 1 o'clock. But again, this is just our kickoff meeting, really just to go through what the process will look like. We do encourage you all, if you are able to participate in the process, we do welcome your insight and input as we form our next strategic plan, as we think about how we're going to move forward as an agency. Obviously, the commissioners play a vital part in what we do. So we are looking forward to hearing from you all. If you all are available to participate, I'll make sure that we continue to keep you all updated so that you all, if you're available, can participate in any of the upcoming meetings in regards to that. I did have the opportunity to attend Summer Mako. Also had the opportunity to present in 2 different sessions. So again, I think it was a great conference and had some great information. It was a pleasure to see Commissioner Prescott there as well during Summer Mako and enjoy some of the iced coffee on behalf of Prescott HR. So we did appreciate that. But again, it was a great conference, great information, and we look forward to attending again next summer as well. We did have an opportunity to speak to and engage in a conversation with the Maryland Democratic Club, their senior committee around age discrimination. So they wanted to learn more information about age discrimination, how seniors, what seniors can do to protect themselves against age discrimination. So I did have a session with their group to talk about age discrimination and how different things that they can do to protect themselves, to notify us if they feel as though they've been a victim of age discrimination. So it was a great conversation with that committee. And we look forward to, again, furthering that partnership and assisting them in any way that we can. I also had the opportunity to present at the NARAB National Conference that was in LA. Again, that's the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, to talk about housing discrimination, talk about fair housing, the new frontier of housing discrimination. So again, that was a great conversation. We look forward to continuing our partnership with NARAB as well, as we continue to figure out what part we can play in fair housing, and not necessarily just in our state, but on a national level as well. So we are continuing to engage in those conversations around fair housing, what fair housing looks like now, what fair housing will look like in the future, and what steps that we can all do to ensure that fair housing is truly fair as we continue to move forward. So With that, I will take any questions that you all may have in reference to my report.
So not a question, just based on our conversation, Cleveland, I want to just reiterate to the commissioners here and reaching out to the ones that were unable to make it for various reasons, that in so much as you can, please be participatory in the strategic planning process. It is absolutely, imperative that we fulfill that role that we have, bringing our lenses and our knowledge to support the work of the commission and its staff and its priorities. So pretty please, everybody make time. And believing me, I understand making time is not the easiest thing in the world. But please try to make the time to be participatory. That was my only comment. Sorry. Thank you, Cleveland.
No problem.
Yeah,
at all. Thank you.
and I just want to say, as long as I get notice, my schedule fills up a couple of weeks ahead of time. Did you say you have a meeting this Thursday? Like as in,
Well, we have a meeting today at 1 o'clock. It's just a kickoff meeting, right? So
Okay.
we will update you all on all the future upcoming meetings. This one is less content focused, more just about the process, right? So
okay,
we will make sure that we update you all when it's time to actually give the input ahead of time, so you all will know the date and time of those meetings and what's going to be requested of you during those meetings, so you can kind of come prepared to discuss whatever that particular topic will be during that meeting. So we'll make sure that we keep you all updated with that information as we move along.
is this the same consultant we used last time?
No,
Oh, okay.
different. Yep. We partnered
And
with
also-
this one. I met this consultant at actually last year at the IORA conference, and last year we were in St. Louis, I think it was. But since then, they requested us to kind of do a couple of that. They asked me to kind of do a couple of their podcasts. So we've been assisting them in terms of presenting information to their members. As a result of that, they've offered us this free service around strategic planning to provide us with this. So, I never turn down anything that's free 99, right? So I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us to get our strategic plan at no cost to the agency. So we've taken them up on the offer, and we're beginning that process.
For me, if I can get calendar invites, that's much better for me, because if I have to take an email and then put something on my calendar, it's about 100% chance it's not going to happen. So, so if I can get a calendar invite, it automatically goes on my calendar and I can work it into my schedule.
No problem at all. We'll
Thank
make sure you get them. Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments about my report? Cool. Again, with that, thank you all, and I will pass it on to our Deputy Director.
Thank you, Cleveland, and good morning to everyone. I wanted to mention Cleveland talked about all of us taking care of ourselves and taking time out to live life. And so I would encourage everyone to encourage our executive director as well, to make that as part of his practice, for him to make time. And so that is something, since I've started, I've been trying to encourage him to do, to take time off, because he is a fixture in this building. And he needs to also, replenish and come back restored and ready to continue the fight and continue advocating for the state. So he can't continue to do that if he doesn't take the time. So everyone, it will be equally responsible for uplifting him and making sure that he takes that time off.
All I have to say is good luck, because I've been trying before you came.
I get it, but
With him, his wife, his mother, we've tried. We keep pushing. So if everybody keeps pushing, maybe, just maybe.
yeah, well, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged that with this team on this screen, that everyone will continue to encourage him, and then it will become hopefully part of second nature for him to think about taking time off, because maybe if nothing else, he'll be sick of hearing from all of us. So that I'm encouraged, and I'm keeping, I'm keeping hopeful.
Keep
So
hope alive.
I'm hopeful. So everyone received the report. With regards to where our case processing numbers are, we are continuing to investigate cases. Right now, this month, marks the end of our EEOC contract. And so we are working, the team is working hard to try to make sure that we get all of our cases completed and submitted for the EEOC contract credit. So the team is, all hands on deck as it relates to the employment cases. We've actually also, some of our housing staff is providing some assistance as it relates as well to mediation. And so at the end of this month, I know it'll be a big sigh, and we're looking forward to the team pulling through. And we're contracted to do 547 cases per year. And so we're on schedule to meet that. And, hopefully I will have that great update for you in October. I would also mention that we're in the process of interviewing for a Civil Rights Officer 1 position. We had a number of people who applied for the position. I think we had with over 50 people in the best qualified, and then an extreme number in the other categories as well. So we're working through the interviews. We are interviewing and expect to hire 6 Civil Rights Officer 1 positions, and with the hope that that position will start those positions will start mid-October towards late October. So we'll keep you updated on the new additions that we will have to the office, which will help us continue to work on the backlog that we have. Once we get them get them trained, we'll be able to start assigning cases and slowly chip away at that backlog that we have in investigating cases. Our mediation unit, we're continuing to build that up and set all of the best practices and logistics for our mediation program. And so that has been a help, as well as we've had some successes as it relates to our mediations and getting some cases that were in our backlog. We were able to get those parties into mediation and actually resolve the case. So they didn't have to continue to wait to have their cases assigned to an investigator. So we are hopeful as we continue to build up, and with new staff, we'll be able to continue to see the successes in providing people resolution and quicker resolutions through the ADR process. So we're excited about that and looking forward to that. And last thing that I would say is that for the case processing team, we're continuing to work on leadership development for our supervisors, which is that's across, I would say, the commission leadership development, but that is something with our case processing supervisors we're working on, and then also making sure that we have regular trainings scheduled for our investigators for investigative techniques, and making sure that they have the training that they need to continue to service all of the complainants and respondents matters that we have pending with us. So that is all I have, unless anyone has any questions with regards to anything I brought up or the report.
Just major kudos on the mediation services. I think that that's phenomenal. I'm a big fan of that because it allows the parties to be participatory in the outcomes, which I think is always really beneficial. So thank you.
Thank you. And we'll continue to keep everyone updated on the progress we continue to make in the mediation program, or our ADR program, because they're not just doing mediation. So I have to catch myself in saying that, because they're also helping our investigative team in doing conciliations as well. And so it's not just mediation. So, but we will continue to keep you updated. Hearing none, am I coming to who? Nicolette?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you, Yolanda. Good morning, everyone. Hope that your week is going well so far. want to give another shout out to Michelle Davis, who just joined our team. Another member, Katie Ann Sinclair. She's not with us today, but she joined the team back in August. So we're very excited to now finally be fully staffed in the admin unit. It's been tough, but I've had a lot of support from other staff members in MCCR. So I want to thank those individuals as well for just supporting me through this process and also lending a helping hand when needed. So thank you guys. Just want to go over a few things leading up to the end of fiscal year 2025. Fortunately, we did end the fiscal year in the black. We did not require an additional deficiency in general fund. So we're very happy about that. We were giving a infusion of additional general funds at the end of the fiscal year to cover health insurance cost, and that was statewide. So it wasn't anything that we did wrong. Those were just adjustments in statewide cost for health insurance. So that definitely did help us in the year on the positive. We are engaged in a statewide hiring freeze at this time, but we have submitted exception requests to be able to fill all of our positions. And as Yolanda mentioned earlier, we are interviewing folks right now and do hope to bring them on board by the end of, at least by mid-October, end of October. We have received an update about the office relocation. The Department of General Services has issued a request for proposals for the leasing space, and that was done last week. We have sent that over to some folks that were interested in helping us, and hopefully we'll be able to identify a location before the end of this year. And we are currently in the process of putting together our FY 2027 budget. I can't believe it. We just finished up the fiscal year. We're currently in 26 and we're already doing 27. So that's what I'm working on right now with the assistance of both Cleveland and Yolanda and the rest of the team. And hopefully we will have that taken care of and done before the end of the week. And I am happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time. Okay, hearing none, I'm okay with that.
I was just gonna say, good luck on the space. That's never fun.
No, but we're excited. Hopefully we will be able to identify a location that will allow for our staff to be able to park as well. Of course, that's always an issue anytime you're dealing with downtown Baltimore area. So hopefully they will be able to find some type of accommodation for that. So yeah, but we'll definitely keep you in the loop. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for me. And I'm going to pass the torch over to General Counsel Glendora Hughes.
Good morning. Good morning. My presentation will be short. You have my report. I do need a few minutes in executive session to discuss the outcome of one of the cases to fill you in on what happened there. We did submit our departmental legislation proposal to the governor's office last week on the issue of education. And the process is that we sent the concept in, it was accepted. We had to send in a full-blown draft of the legislation with the packet that we had to fill out, in which they are in the process of reviewing everybody's proposals that were submitted last week. Talking to our legislative liaison, Miles Hicks, said that we probably will hear a green light maybe end of the month, early October. They're going through the easy ones first, and then the more policy ones last. But they've sent out synopses in which we are receiving requests from the agencies, but we reached out to agencies we thought that were the agencies that we would have to work with and to discuss, such as the Department of Education, the Commission on Higher Education. We've received requests from the Department of Disability, and we received a request from the Department of Corrections. So we will keep you abreast of that process as we get information back from the governor's office as to the acceptance of what we've submitted as our proposal. We are going to be setting up meetings to discuss with those departments, as well as the governor's recommendation for us to have a conversation with Delegate Atterbury, who is chair of the education subcommittee on the House side. And we probably will look and reach out to whoever is the chair of the subcommittee on the Senate side as well. So we'll be starting those conversations to discuss and pinpoint narrowing or perfecting the draft based on the input that we get from various folks, so that, you know, the intent of the governor's office with these meetings is that those things get worked out before it's finally ready to be sent to legislative reference for the final drafting of the legislation. Also, the General Counsel's office will be getting a position of Assistant General Counsel, and so we are beginning the process of going through the applications that we received from DBM. There's a significant number with a variety of folks that are applying, that have a lot of federal folks that are applying, considering that it's happened. So we will be reviewing that information to set up, schedule interviews, and proceed with the process of selecting someone to fill that position. Excuse me. My allergies.
Bless you.
Thank you. So I will end there, and I will pick up on the executive session to give you an update on that particular case. Any questions?
I just wanted to quickly add to that. I know when we think about what we discussed from a legislative priority standpoint, we had about 5. I know that Glendora touched on the education piece, but wanted to let you all know that we have resolved the Civil Rights Enforcement Fund issue. So we have been in conversation with the AG's office. We do have a memorandum of understanding in reference to how we're going to operate with this Civil Rights Enforcement Fund. So they are going to maintain their portion, the funds that come in for the Attorney General's office. We are going to maintain the portion that comes in for us to maintain on our end. So we were able to agree on that. We signed a memorandum of understanding for that. So that is no longer an issue. Criminal records, which was also a part of our legislative priorities. We are in conversation with the delegate who had brought that forward previously. So we're not sure if she is going to sponsor that again. I am set to speak with her in the coming weeks to talk about strategy or what that will look like, and we will update you all as we continue to move forward as it pertains to the criminal records piece. The pregnancy piece and the public relief for our state contract cases, we are still engaging legislators to figure out who would be good sponsors for those pieces of legislation, and we will update you all with that as well as we move forward with those 2 priorities as well. So I just wanted to kind of make sure you all had an update on all 5 of the priorities that we talked about.
And also, just keep in mind that this upcoming session will be in the middle of re-elections. So Some decisions by legislators are going to go through that lens, so they may not want to do it now and may do it later. Particular issues that they may want to bring up at not in this session, but in a subsequent session. But this time, this particular time, when you've got an election year, there are a whole lot of other reasons that come into play in decision making with the legislators that have nothing to do with whether it's a good topic, it's a good issue or it's a problem that needs to be fixed. There may be other issues that are being considered. So, we will engage in these conversations and look at what is something that we can successfully get someone to take on and support.
All right, I guess it's my turn. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Great to see you all. I would like to say thank you to everyone for your support with our gala and also to the commission. Education and outreach is extremely supported, as all of our units are, but I just want to highlight the support that we are given. So I thank all of you. Thank you so much. With that being stated, I want to highlight during fiscal year 25, education and outreach exceeded our outreach events, internal and external. So we were to hit 160, but we exceeded and went to 200. So we're excited about that. And it's really important for us to ensure that we're tracking our data so that we can show everything that we're doing. So for fiscal year 26, we have increased our goals by 25%. So we're really excited and even more grateful that we will be able to add new staff to our unit so that we can continue to expand our outreach you can never do enough. So we're really excited to continue to expand our outreach. Also, with that being stated, our fiscal year 26 upcoming events are pretty much all finalized. So education and outreach, I'll ensure that we send our upcoming events to our commissioners so that you all are aware of what's going on. And we will request your support as you all have a large network and possible resources such as speakers for our events or volunteers, event volunteers. So I'll ensure that you all receive details so that we can gain your support with our events that we are facilitating as well. As you know, we have our programs that will be launching early 26, and we'll be launching our open houses so that, again, you all are aware of our events and so that we can gain support. Lastly, we are continuously in collaboration with our general counsel so that we are providing trainings, internal and external. So our focus is just continue to expand our outreach. And that is all that I have. Does anyone have any questions at all? Again, thank you all for your support. And if there's anything that you need to reach out to me about, feel free to email me.
Madam Chair, that is all of the, I'm sorry, Commissioner Magdalena, I see you got.
Yes, I couldn't find the
No problem.
raised hand.
I see you.
Candice, thank you for your report. Thank you all of you for your report. Godora, you, as always, do a great report. I just wanted to thank all of you. But Candice, what are which one is the next activity that you have coming up? I think I missed that one.
Well, we have a lot of activities coming up. So we are collaborating with Associated Black Charities for their event called The Cookout. That is September 13th. And we also will be in collaboration with the Attorney General's Office and Chesapeake College. Will be on the Eastern Shore September 19th and 20th. So we'll be hosting the Hate Bias Forums. I can send you these details as well. And you can also reference the flyers in my report. And also September 27th, Education and Outreach will be in Mountain, Maryland. So we will be facilitating a listening session as well as a brainstorming strategic plan session with our Western Maryland Advisory Council as well. October 18th, we are collaborating with Baltimore City Office of Equity and Human Rights for a community day around Civil Rights Week. So we will be collaborating with them as well. And our Civil Rights Leadership Program, Young Scholars Program, and our Maryland Leadership and Advocacy Program are to launch February 2026. So we're just finalizing all the details and information. With that being stated, we already have created our flyers with our QR code so that we have been receiving inquiries. So we have all that in our forms and all that data as well, so that we can continue to reach out to individuals who have completed our inquiry forms for our upcoming programs. I can also email you everything that I just stated so that you can have these details and amongst our other events. We also will be giving you all details for our Winterfest, as we always like to invite our commissioners. So we'll ensure that you have those details in advance so that you can rearrange your schedules to join us.
You recall the date for the winter event?
So our Winterfest date has not been solidified yet. It is to be solidified in the next few weeks. So I'll ensure that you all have that information as soon as possible.
And I hope I don't have a conflict.
I hope not also.
Yes, those days, winter is a kind of crucial sometimes and with travels for me.
Yeah,
Understood.
We
And
normally try to, I think one of the things we did last year, we tried to connect it with potentially around that second Tuesday in December, which is the date of the commission meeting. So that folks can potentially come in, have the commission meeting in the morning, and then we do our Winterfest after that. So we'll kind of get a 2-for-1. So we will discuss it internally to kind of figure out to make sure we can make that happen, and to make sure all of you all are available to do that with your schedules if you all are available to do that potentially.
thank you,
December-
Cleveland.
December
sorry.
9th, December 9th, is that Tuesday. I'll put in a little note there. Thank you, Cleveland.
No problem.
I do want to reference in the report, it says that details will be sent by October. So it will be, officially sent out to everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions at all? Thank you.
You. All right, old and new business. I don't believe we have any old business on the calendar currently. New business, obviously participatory as possible in the strategic planning process as that moves forward. Being participatory in the educational and outreach events. See, I plugged it. And then I am going to be sending around an email to everybody that'll be on this as far as the commissioners go, to see if anybody wants to do something. As Cleveland sort of mentioned in his earlier remarks, some of our commissioners are having some times that they might need some support. So let's think about whether or not we want to do something as a commission, as a board of commissioners, to support them in their time right now. Okay, that's my new business. It's a little off topic, but it's related to our commissioners, so I feel like it deserves a shout out. Does anyone else have new business that they'd like to bring to the forefront at this time? Okay. Are there any questions, comments from anybody on the call? Nope. Okay, hearing none, seeing none. Glendora, I know you said we do need an executive session, correct? Do I have a motion to adjourn to executive session?
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Thank you everyone so much for your time, for your reports, and for your excellent and good work. We appreciate every single one of you and everything you do. Commissioners, let's stay on for executive.
I'm
Thank you.
Thank you.
concluding the recording. The interpreters can go. Thank you.
Thank you.